Welcome to the Liam Senior Show. I know, right? Not another podcast. But here we are. Join this beer brewing, filmmaking, YouTubing northerner as he catches up with friends, interviews interesting people, and shares opinions no one asked for. So humor Liam in this self-indulgent journey into podcasting. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and enjoy the ride. Hold on to your butts.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Liam Senior Show, another solo podcast today, and I'm going to be talking about a project that I've started this week. Some of you will have already seen it, but I will be sharing it in and around when the podcast comes out. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. We're going to be talking about a film that I am looking to produce over the coming years. Over the coming years, it's going to take a bit of time to record and to edit and things like that, but I've wanted to do something like this for a long time, and I'm going to be producing a documentary about ice hockey. Something, again, passion project I've wanted to do for such a long time. You can find out more, and you can get all the updates and things like that via our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/hockeytownfilm. Be better if I was more prepared for these links. So I know the web URLs if I'm going to promote it. Yeah, /HockeyTownFilm. And there's a Kickstarter. There's a link to the Kickstarter on our website as well, which is hockeytownfilm.com. So hockeytownfilm.com, you'll find links to all the relevant information where you can support the Facebook page. You can find updates. But really importantly as well, is helping us to bring this project to life via support through our Kickstarter page. So it's going to be a proper film, it's a proper documentary. I want to do it justice, so we do need your support in doing that. So please do check out our Kickstarter page where you can get involved and you can support the project. There are sort of remunerations, I guess, for your efforts and for your contributions. So there's things like names in the credits, merchandise, up to business sponsorship and becoming an executive producer. The feedback we've had so far from launching the website and the Facebook page has been brilliant. So thank you so much for those that have already sent messages of support or shared the video that we did, things like that. Things like that are really important to a project like this. So I'm really grateful for everyone that's taken the time to do that. There's been a number of people who are involved in the ice hockey community here in the UK who have already got in touch to say what a brilliant idea the project is, and that they can't wait to see the end result, but also offering their services, whether it be a hockey team they play for that want to perhaps get involved with the filming, or some of the other projects that are going on in and around ice hockey. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go on. So I'm going to talk about my ice hockey journey to start with, and other things like that. So I started playing ice hockey. Well, my first ice hockey class, I guess, my ice hockey session, was when I was in primary school, and that's when I began to learn how to ice skate. I was doing that on a rented pair of blunt figure skates, so it was a bit of a challenge, but something I persevered initially, and then from there, as I was growing up, my interests chopped and changed, and it kind of got put on the back burner. But it's something I then revisited as an adult, and joined a recreational ice hockey team. Initially down in the northwest where I'm from. So I first learnt to ice skate in the original Altrincham ice rink, which was subsequently knocked down. Nothing to do with me and my ability to skate, but they rebuilt that, and that's when I first started to do ice hockey specific training, not just the skating element of it. I then moved to also train at the new Widnes ice hockey rink, and I joined the Widnes Wildcats. Still in our infancy, we're still training before I was offered the opportunity to play any competitive games, as I relocated, as a lot of you'll know. So I now live in the northeast, and it was one of the first things I looked at when I knew I'd be relocating to Teesside. Was I wanted to know what ice rinks were local. I wanted to know what teams were there, whether it be professional teams. Not that I felt I was going to be playing for a professional team, but obviously I want to continue to watch ice hockey, and I wanted to be able to continue my development as a player, even if it's on an amateur recreational level, something that was really important to me. So I quickly found Billingham Ice Rink, Billingham Forum, where the Cleveland Comets play, and that was a team that I joined. I was very involved for a long time, assistant captain of the B team, did the website, things like that. I tried to support the team as much as I could, as well as them supporting my my hockey development. So really great kind of thrown in the deep end. I think there was probably a jump from being in the northwest to the northeast in terms of the amount of time I was dedicating to ice hockey and my ability, and also the ability of the players that I was playing with. So I'm still affiliated with the Cleveland Comets, although due to my my ill health, I'm not able to train at all recently, but I do jump on for the occasional session. I'm still great friends with the team. They've been really supportive of my condition and my desire to continue to play ice hockey. So very grateful to the Cleveland Comets, and they will no doubt be a huge feature of the documentary. So yeah, ice hockey's been a big part of my life early on, but also then as I got older. And the more I got involved with ice hockey, I think the more I realised that there was I guess it was more a hidden gem in the UK, wasn't it? So it's something that has married up well with the another passion of mine, which is filmmaking. So I have my own YouTube channel. The businesses that I run we promote ourselves and our services through YouTube as well. And my skills and ability as a filmmaker have developed over the years too. I studied media and film at college. I went on to do marketing qualifications and used filming as part of my career in both the financial industry and in launching my own business. So I love creating pieces of film, and it was just obvious for me that when I felt confident enough and when I had the real desire to produce film, that there would be a crossover with ice hockey, because ice hockey in the UK, like I said, absolute hidden gem. There are so many levels of ice hockey in the UK, from beginner, from junior development to recreational and amateur, and up to semi-professional and professional. There's the likes of I'd probably argue the biggest example of it is the Sheffield Steelers. They pack out the arena in Sheffield regularly. Have huge crowds and do very well to a very high standard. So, and that you don't see that on the likes of Sky Sports necessarily. They do. I've started to cover things like netball, basketball in the UK, volleyball, but ice hockey just doesn't seem to get the coverage. And I guess there is that argument, isn't there? Well, we don't cover it that much because there's not the appetite for it. But I guess there's not going to be as much of an appetite for it if people don't know it's going on. So there are these pockets and communities, both locally in areas and then nationally, internationally as well. So hockey for me needs more support. It needs people shouting from the rooftops about the standards that we have in the UK. This year, Team GB competed in the top level of international tournaments for the first time in a long time. So we have some real talent in the UK, and homegrown talent that that are doing amazing things. But for a lot of you listening, you probably wouldn't have known about it. It wasn't covered when Team GB were successful in the sort of like the second tier of international ice hockey and were promoted to the top division. It was amazing. There was so much celebration and hype within the community of ice hockey here in the UK, but it wasn't covered anywhere else, and that for me is just a crying shame. So I do hope that my ability as a filmmaker and my passion and love for ice hockey will do some way in promoting the sport in the UK, and also sharing what we're doing in the UK with our international friends and family, both in the ice hockey community and otherwise, because like I said, there's a great community here and we should be shouting about it. So touched on earlier there, the different tiers that you've got. If you are sort of affiliated or aware of the ice hockey community, then your family, your children perhaps will share that desire with you. And we see great sort of junior development at this level where under 10s and below learn the sport and get involved, and that they will often follow that throughout their childhood, and then much like I guess any other sport, they'll get to a crossroads where they'll think about perhaps more of an academic career or something outside of ice hockey, and play recreationally and amateur and carry on playing that as their sport and their way of keeping fit and playing in competitive sport. Or, if they've pushed themselves and they are, at a certain standard, then they'll go on to play semi-professionally and ultimately aim to be professional ice hockey player. So, there'll be players that could have, or people that could have become and led on to become great ice hockey players that perhaps never even discovered the sport at a time, early enough to be able to make something of it. So, if we can encourage more and more kids and young people to get involved with ice hockey as well, then even better. So yeah, that is something that we should be seeing more of. My own hockey journey, as I've touched on again, has always been fairly amateur. I wasn't able to sort of invest the time and effort to really push myself, and there was a real gap as I went on to secondary school, did my GCSEs and A-levels, where I was studying and I'd also discovered alcohol and women. There were multiple distractions, which I'm sure anyone who plays sport at a junior level goes on to sort of straddle in terms of, and that's the situation specifically, not those involved straddling. There comes that time when you have to make a decision, and for me, I ducked out of that quite early on, which is a shame. But it wasn't the end of the journey for me, and playing at an amateur level and getting involved with rec hockey has been amazing. And when I've moved to the UK, I joined a team quite early on. And as any of you that have ever relocated to a different part of the country, you want to make friends and get to know people in the area. And for me, ice hockey was a brilliant way of doing that. I've made a lot of friends through ice hockey, both locally to where I am now in Teesside, where I originally got involved with hockey in the Northwest. But also, across the country, there's people who I've met through tournaments and games where, we've built a connection, or we've got that shared interest straight away from ice hockey. It's something we talk about, and so it's great. And I think that's the same for a lot of people, isn't it? If you're moving to a different part of the country, finding someone who shares your interests, finding a community that share your interests, amazing. So that for me was a godsend, and I continue to maintain those friendships despite not playing hockey as much. But yeah, it is something that I still want to continue to do. I want to carry on playing when my body allows me to, my energy levels allow me to, and the team that I play for, fortunately for me, are quite accommodating of that, where if I just want to jump on a session and have a bit of a knockabout and do a bit of fitness and play a sport that I love, then I can jump on and do that. And those guys are super supportive. So yeah, again, big shout out and thanks to the Cleveland Comets for their continued support, both locally in the area of the hockey community, but for also affording those that perhaps got into the sport late but want to give it a try, the opportunity to get involved with the sport, and those that can't train or play as often as they'd like. Again, someone like me, that is just fantastic. And I'm looking forward to getting to a few games to watch the semi-pro team here in Billingham, the Billingham Stars, get to a few more games next season as well. And I implore you to find your local ice hockey team and try and get down to watch a couple of games, because it's something different, and it's something that perhaps you may not have experienced before. So, where you are, you will be surprised to learn that there is probably an ice hockey team semi-local to you, and I would again encourage you to go and check those out. Again, those different levels of ice hockey that are prevalent here in the UK. You've even got big communities affiliated with other communities. You've got things like Army, RAF, police, ice hockey teams. University ice hockey is very popular in the UK. I know up in the Toon in Newcastle, they have a really strong side, and yeah, it's great to have that here in the UK, that you're not only continuing your academic studies, but you're able to play a sport as part of that as well and compete. So wonderful. And from there as well, something that means a lot to me as well, you've got things like ice hockey in the disabled community. You've got para ice hockey, I guess you call it. I think it's the main term. So those that perhaps ice skating is becoming more of a struggle if they've lost use to the legs or loss of strength in the legs, then there is the para ice hockey, which is it's like I think it's called sledge hockey is another term used. So you're actually sat on a sledge and you have two smaller sticks that you use to propel yourself on the ice and also control the puck. And again, working with a disability that you have, you're still able to be involved in the community of ice hockey, you're still able to participate in the sport of ice hockey. For me, that's tremendous. It's a very inclusive sport, both physically, but also, anyone who wants to get involved in the sport, they'll be more than accommodating. So again, if you've ever fancied playing ice hockey and want to give it a try, I know Silverblades ice rinks, so Widnes and Altrincham, near where I'm originally from, they'll do intro classes to ice hockey where you put all the gear on, you'll do very basic drills, but you're also surrounded by people of a very similar ability. So you're in a safe space. You're not then jumping on like I did with the Cleveland Comets and your first session a bit wobbly and then just get absolutely twatted. Baptism of fire as such. There are easier ways of getting into that, but I actually really benefited from that. Really, playing at such a higher standard when my ability wasn't matched has meant that I've come on a long way, and I've been really enjoying it when I've been able to play. So that's fantastic. So support your local hockey team. Find where they are. Find which rink they play out of. Go and cheer them on. But also, if you do want to get involved with the sport, now a better time than ever. We're coming out of a really difficult, challenging time, and I think that now is a time where we should be trying those things that have been on our bucket lists for a long time, because who knows what's going to happen in the future. Who knows when and where we'll be allowed out again if we have another lockdown or another pandemic or another situation that's evolved out of that. It means that we can't do some of the things we enjoy. So whilst we're able to get involved, get supporting. That's my phone ringing, isn't it? Who's this? Sorry about that. Do get involved, find out what's going on, and become a part of that, because those different types of ice hockey, whilst supportive as they are to different communities and different abilities, do need your support, and the only way we can do that is bums on seats, get people watching the sport and getting involved, because ice hockey doesn't get as much funding from the government as other sports, even the likes of basketball and more sort of lesser followed sports in the country. So let's get ice hockey on the map. So the film that I propose is it's called, the working title is called Hockey Town, because that's exactly what I discovered, and that's in Billingham, a real strong hockey community of people that both have grown up and live currently in Billingham, that support the rink. The ice rink is a big big bedrock in their lives, and I was able to embrace that and get to know those people, become friends and part of that wider hockey family. So for me, being immersed in that experience and that town and in Billingham's been fantastic for me, and following the different levels of hockey, from junior development to amateur level to women's hockey, para hockey, semi-professional, professional hockey. You see it all mainly. In Billingham ticks most of those boxes, and you don't have to travel too far to get those that aren't there. So I think there's some real stories to tell in the hockey community here in the UK, particularly in Billingham. So I want to base the documentary out of the Billingham rink, where we can follow the journeys of the semi-pro team across their season, whilst interjecting that narrative with other stories from the amateur and lower level junior development and para hockey, whatever it might be. We can tell those stories, get to know those people, and hopefully really bring to life that community here in the UK. I'm really excited about it. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and for those of you that know that now, I'm working more. I'm using that passion and ability that I have for filmmaking as a career choice. I now am a managing director of Salt Steel Media Company, and we produce video content for startup businesses, SMEs, other businesses and projects in across the UK and beyond. So using some of the experiences that I've had already and some of the equipment that I have to my hand, or that I'm able to use, makes sense to put that into a project. But I want to do it justice. I want it to be high level. So if Netflix come knocking, which I'm sure they won't, but if they were to, I want to make sure it's, you have to film with certain equipment to qualify for it to be pushed in front of the right people and to be considered for sharing and things like that on certain platforms. So we're going to be hiring out cinema level cameras, big setups, big lights. We're going to be hiring out venues. We're going to have to pay extra staff and things like that. So it's not something that I just want to rock up with my camera and film. Although I don't want to, because I want the stories to be done justice. And I think the only way that we're able to do that is is by doing it properly and by using the right equipment, getting in touch with the right people, using their time and expertise. So yeah, I've set a very stretched target on Kickstarter, one that does look quite optimistic. It's definitely a stretch target, but if we can get that, fantastic. That would be amazing. It would allow us to do so many things. If we don't meet that target, then we can always go again and try and do it at a lower level and see if we've got other elements of sponsorship and stuff like that. So you can find out all that information on hockeytownfilm.com. There's links to our Kickstarter on there, which I think is kickstarter.com/hockeytownfilm. I think. You'll be able to check that. It'll flash up on screen now or be in the comment or show notes, whether you are listening to the podcast on your preferred podcast platform or you're watching on our YouTube channel. Do head over to the YouTube channel. You can find that by searching the Liam Senior Show. If you could subscribe to that, then you'll obviously get further notifications of shows. But you can also see what's going on. You can see me here. Hey, what's going on? We have got some great shows lined up with some fantastic guests, which I would love you to be a part of. Would love you to listen to. But also, if you want to see those guests and see what we're talking about, can you see what people are talking about? Or if there's any visual elements to that, you can check those out via YouTube. So there will be a big push for that as well. So again, thank you to those who've already supported or supported my podcast. I think it's a great way for me, quite cathartic way for me to talk about what's going on. YouTube and subscribing or getting notifications through your preferred YouTube provider. That's YouTube. Your preferred podcast provider. Then great, because then you're going to get a notification when we do upload and you're going to see what's going on, or you're going to be able to, have your finger on the pulse of who's coming into the show and what they're going to be talking about. So we've got some great shows lined up. We have James Kennedy, who's going to be coming on, who's a director from the Northwest. We've worked on some projects together previously, from music videos that he's done for bands that I've been in to some of his earlier film work where I've featured as an extra. I've been a zombie. I've been part of a couple in a cafe or a restaurant that were having their own conversations in the background there. I think it was Loved Up Couple was the name of the part, I think. James will be able to elaborate on that in a bit more detail. But yeah, he's currently over he's been in California, and then he's headed over in the US, and then he's headed over to Canada, and he thinks in Vancouver now shooting some projects. So he's a busy guy. We're trying to pin him down to get him down for a show. Whether it's going to be over Zoom or something like that, then we'll figure all that out. Don't you worry. And yeah, we have some other great shows lined up. Some podcast experts, some guys who work on some really cool stuff that I think you'd be really interested in. So I don't want you to miss those. So don't think that it's whilst it has been a bit quiet on the channel and on the show recently, some of that has been technology based, as I'm currently sat at my desk here with a PC that I can only describe as lackluster. It's underperforming. It's and with podcast shows typically being a longer stint, longer piece of film, longer stretch of audio, takes a long time to edit, takes a long time to render that footage and to export it all and to upload it all. So that tech is being revised at the moment. So shows should come a bit thicker and faster in the future, which I'm really excited about. So thank you for coming along so far. And for joining in. I've got a window open, it's roasting hot, and there's dogs barking and buses passing, so we've made it so far with minimal interruption. But that's a dog you can hear barking in the background in the office there. Yeah, this is Salt Steel Media HQ, where I've based all the podcasts out of so far, and I'll continue to do so. It's also where we do a lot of the editing and client meetings and things like that for Salt Steel Media. So there's more stuff on our YouTube channel / my YouTube channel that are coming in the future. So, check out some behind the scenes stuff. And I am adamant that Daz is getting on a show. We were originally going to do the Liam and Daz show, but Daz is a very busy man, as I'm trying to be as well. It's been great working together, but trying to pin him down for a podcast. Honestly, Daz, come on. But yeah, he has loosely agreed to come onto a show as well. So yeah, we've got maybe 5, 6, 7 guests lined up, and I'll be looking forward to sharing those with you, perhaps some from the hockey community. And as the film develops and more people get involved, whether it be on screen or off screen, I'm sure we'll bring those into the show. But yeah, in sort of summary there's a thriving ice hockey community here in the UK. I love filmmaking, and I can't wait to bring those two passions of mine together and have something that's not just, a small piece of film that's for a client or for a business, but, a feature-length documentary that's mine, that I've directed, that I've written and produced. It sounds really exciting, and I can't wait to get stuck in with it. It's gonna take a long time. Like I said, we want to do it properly, want to do it justice. So, we're already getting in touch with some communities within the ice hockey community to help get involved. And we'll be getting in touch with more of those people as time goes on. And like I said, it's been great that we've had some real positive feedback so far from those within the community to say, I love your project, I can't wait to see it, or I wanted to do something similar, never got around to it, I can't wait to see what you do, or can we get involved somehow? And that is just greatly appreciated. And we will be leaning on those people more and more as the production starts and grows. But yeah, one of the big things at the moment, those of you that have used Kickstarter before or have donated or contributed before will know there's a time cap for that. You have to hit your target. We have set a stretch target, so whether or not we're going to meet that target, maybe it's unlikely thinking about it now, but we'll go for round 2 and see if we can bring that budget down and perhaps think a bit more in a bit more detail about what we could do and tweak to bring those costs down, because it's not something that it's going to be done in my spare time, but it's going to be part of my professional capacity as a filmmaker. So there's resources that we need for things like that. So you'll be there'll be lots of remuneration opportunities. There'll be lots of things like merchandise, naming credits, as I've mentioned before. We are looking for businesses to sponsor the film. If you're involved with ice hockey, fantastic. If you're not and want to just support a local film project, fantastic as well. And if you want to get involved, what's happened here? Oh, my screen just went blank as it restarted filming. I think we'll figure all this out. I'm still learning as a podcaster as well, so I'm using a bit of tech here that still getting to know. So if you've heard a bit of a blip or a dip there, apologies. I assuming we've ticked over half an hour of filming there, so that's this is just a mindful. Am I taking on too much? Probably yes. I'm trying to run a couple of businesses. I'm trying to start a passion project. I'm trying to launch a podcast. That is a lot of plates to spin for anybody, and no less so for me, who does have his struggles with MS, things like that. I'll talk about that in my first show. And I have also reached out to a couple of contacts in the MS Society to come on board and talk about MS. So you'll find out a bit more about that. But yeah, I probably am taking on a bit too much, but I am still trying to push myself individually and professionally. So I will continue to have my finger in a few pies. So if you want to support the aforementioned pies, please do. Please like, subscribe to the channel and the podcast. Please keep your finger on the pulse with what we're doing here at Salt Steel, whether that's the media company or the brewery, which we've not touched on too much either, which I will do for future shows. But yeah, this is something that I can't do without you, or I could, but it just wouldn't do it justice. So yeah, keep tabs on what we're doing, whether it is, like I said, on the podcast. There'll be more shows coming out, and we'll be talking more about the film. But yeah, Hockey Town, it's out there. I find I do that with projects, is I start them with less thought and consideration, so that they've just started, and now I've kind of put it out to the world. I've put it out to you, and I've told you I'm doing it. I look like a bit of a tit if I don't. So it gives me that push to really pursue something and to make something of it, because now I kind of have to. So that's kind of why it's all come about. You might think, bloody hell, what's Liam doing now? Jesus Christ, we've only just started buying his beer, now he wants us to support his podcast and support his film, blah blah blah. I understand that, I appreciate that, but yeah, it really is appreciated, so thank you so much. I hope you are having a great time at the moment. I hope things are going well. We're entering the sunny summer months. I hope people are keeping calm and cool, and that work or whatever professional capacity you're in, things are on the up as we are coming out of the pandemic. We're hearing less and less about some of the issues we're faced with the pandemic, aren't we, at the moment? Because there's so much going on, whether it's Russia invading Ukraine, pandemic, what we can and can't do. There's so much other stuff that's coming out, whether it's royal family shenanigans, whatever it might be. There's so much. We're always kept busy. We're often kept distracted, aren't we? So, the pandemic is still... it is still something that we're having to consider, isn't it, in a work capacity, and looking after those that are a bit more vulnerable than ourselves. So yeah, continue to do that. Talk to people. Don't be isolated in isolation. I think that's probably a good way of putting it, isn't it? you've got friends, got family, got people that love you, that want to see you doing well and want to pick you up when you're down. So if you're struggling, reach out to me. If you want to come on the show and talk and be, rub off on some of that, the amount of innuendos in this show. But yeah, if any of that catharticism, is that right? And that cathartic feeling that you want to rub off on yourself, to channel out some of the struggles you might be having, and to come on for a chat, please just drop me a message. You can do so, there's hello@liamsenior.com, or you can just drop us a comment on the channel or via the Instagram, whatever it might be. Do get in touch, and I'll chew your ear off about a few of the bits that I'm doing still, and talk to you about the film and whatnot. But yeah, it'd be great to hear how you guys are doing as well. So I hope everyone is doing well. As I record this, it's coming up to Father's Day, so those of you that are will be enjoying that day and celebrating, or however you do, whatever you do on those days, then I hope it's a nice day. Those that don't, I hope you have a great weekend as well, and I hope you're not too bombarded by what is a made up weekend that doesn't always consider those that perhaps don't want to be celebrating and talking about dads, mums, or whatever it might be. Mums, for those of you that aren't based in the Northeast. But I hope you have a great one. Thanks again for checking out the show. Thanks again for checking out the channel, the podcast, the film, whatever it might be. All the links will be on liamsenior.com, or check out hockeytownfilm.com as well. And I'll be chomping at the bit to give you updates and progress reports, whether it be a failed Kickstarter or a flourishing Kickstarter campaign, or whether it's people that are coming involved, or clips behind the scenes, things like that. So thank you so much. And I hope this was worth your time. Do check out and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next one. What was that? What have I just done? Yeah. Watch what you're doing. I'll speak to you soon.
Don't forget, if you want to see Liam and his guests, head over to the YouTube channel and don't forget to subscribe. Well, thank God that's over.